So, we often like to start things off with a bit of poetry or reading, and what a perfect timing to bring to you the former president of the Margaret Atwood Society. Dr. Karma Waltonen teaches writing at UC Davis with a specialty course on Doctor Who, The Simpsons, and of course, Margaret Atwood. She won the 2015 Academic Federation Excellence in Teaching Award, and her most recent textbook, Who's Your Source?, is about finding, evaluating, and ethically using sources. She wrote it to fight for evidence-based knowledge in a post-truth world. Get loud, and please welcome to the stage Dr. Waltonen.
Hi. So anytime someone says Atwood-esque, I appear. And David said it a second ago, so here I am. I've brought Margaret Atwood in the form that's more portable of her. Actually, the co-author of my textbook is in the audience, Melissa Bender. Hi, Melissa. Okay. So usually they have a poet who is on theme here, and I do write poetry, but it's not about free speech and politics. You know, it'll be about how the turkeys in Davis represent my relationship with my mother. And that's not what y'all want to hear today. And so I figured, as an Atwood scholar, I could read some Atwood poems that are actually on topic. So Margaret Atwood, of course, wrote The Handmaid's Tale. That was published 40 years ago this year. And has become quite the phenomenon around the world. It was an instant bestseller. It's never been out of print. Atwood is a Canadian, but she set The Handmaid's Tale in America because she said it couldn't happen in Canada because they don't generally walk around in Canada trying to impose religious doctrine. That's a us thing. Get the pun? Us, US. Okay. Pun comedy is not good. Note taken. She's also an environmentalist, and she's worked with the Amnesty and PEN International. PEN International, and she was the president of one of their chapters, gets writers who have been imprisoned out of prison, or at least works to do that. Why am I reading another woman's poetry up here? So I teach a lot of different classes. Right now, one of my classes is writing and social justice. And as I told my students, I'm so lucky that we're in a state that still allows us to have that class, at least until Monday, maybe. Maybe the students are hoping it gets canceled before the final, but we're gonna do it anyway. I also, in case you have any Anglophile film friends out there, I teach a course in Oxford every summer on film. Little ad for that. But a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I first read The Handmaid's Tale. That galaxy far, far away was in the South. Specifically Floribama, the part of Florida that's basically Alabama. And even though I was in public schools, religious parents were deciding what we learned in those schools. So they were making sure we didn't learn about evolution. In fact, I had an advanced science teacher tell us there was no such thing as evolution, because if there were, you could go to the zoo and watch monkeys turning into people in front of you. She was an advanced science teacher, but again, in the South. One of my history teachers almost lost his job for saying things about the world. This was world history, saying things about the world more than 6,000 years ago. And so people's parents decided that we were not allowed to learn anything more than 6,000 years ago. Apparently, Egypt just always looked like that. Just had all the things in it. And we did not get sex ed except for watching a video in which a teenage girl gets pregnant and then kills herself. Plan. So I read Margaret Atwood, The Handmaid's Tale, under those conditions. And even though a lot of people around the world were saying, she's such a fabulous, that could never happen, I'm like, it's happening right now. around me all the time, and I was absolutely hooked. So I'm going to read 3 Margaret Atwood poems today, a happy one, a not happy one, and then back to a bit of happy, and then a warning from her too. So this is about the power of language. This poem from 2007, A Poor Woman Learns to Write. She squats, bare feet splayed out, not graceful, skirt tucked around the ankles. Her face is lined and cracked. She looks old, older than anything. She's probably 30. Her hands are also lined and cracked and awkward, her hair concealed. She prints with a stick laboriously in wet gray dirt, frowning with anxiety. Great big letters. There, it's finished. Her first words so far. She never thought she could do this. Not her. This was for others. She looks up, smiles as if apologizing, but she's not. Not this time. She did it right. What does the mud say? Her name. We can't read it, but we can guess. Look at her face. Joyful flower, a radiant one, sun on water. I love that little poem about the power of language. It resonates with me because I knew my way out of the South was going to be through education, right? That's the way to get out. And I live here now, and I've lived in California for 25 years. So thank you, California, for letting me come be Californian. After I read The Handmaid's Tale in high school, every time I went to a used bookstore, I would see if there was anything by Atwood, and I would get whatever it was, and I would read whatever it was. And I even got the books of poetry, even though back then I wasn't a person who thought they were a book of poetry buyer. And so I read through her whole collection of works that way. And then when I was in college, I wrote a paper on one of her books in one of my classes, and then that was my audition piece for grad school. And then I ended up doing my dissertation on Atwood. And so it's kind of amazing that just me being a sad black sheep girl in the South reading The Handmaid's Tale could change the trajectory of my entire life, which it has, but I'm very happy about that. All right, this is the poem that's definitely not happy at all. So this is a poem reflecting Atwood's time working for Penn for the writers who were imprisoned. Notes toward a poem that can never be written. This is from 1981. This is the place you would rather not know about. This is the place that will inhabit you. This is the place you cannot imagine. This is the place that will finally defeat you. Where the word why shrivels and empties itself. This is famine. There is no poem you can write about it. The sand pits where so many were buried and unearthed, the unendurable pain still traced on their skins. This did not happen last year or 40 years ago, but last week. This has been happening. This happens. We make a wreath of adjectives for them. We count them like beads. We turn them into statistics and litanies and into poems like this one. Nothing works. They remain what they are. The woman lies on the wet cement floor under the unending light, needle marks on her arms put there to kill the brain, and wonders why she is dying. She is dying because she said. She is dying for the sake of the word. It is her body, silent and fingerless, writing this poem. It resembles an operation, but it is not one, nor, despite the spread legs, grunts, and blood, is it a birth. Partly it's a job, partly it's a display of skill like a concerto. It can be done badly or well, they tell themselves. Partly it's an art. The facts of this world, seen clearly, are seen through tears. Why tell me then there is something wrong with my eyes? To see clearly and without flinching, without turning away, this is agony. The eyes taped open, 2 inches from the sun. What is it you see then? Is it a bad dream, a hallucination? Is it a vision? What do you hear? The razor across the eyeball is a detail from an old film. It is also a truth. Witness is what you must bear. in this country, you can say what you like because no one will listen to you anyway. It's safe enough in this country you can try to write the poem that will never be written, the poem that invents nothing and excuses nothing because you invent and excuse yourself each day. Elsewhere, this poem is not an invention. Elsewhere, this poem takes courage. Elsewhere, this poem must be written because the poets are already dead. Elsewhere, this poem must be written as if you are already dead, as if nothing more can be done or said to save you. Elsewhere, you must write this poem because there is nothing more to do. Again, Notes Toward a Poem That Can Never Be Written by Margaret Atwood. As I said, I'm going to go back to a little bit of happy for the third poem. This is Spelling from 1981. It's a short one. My daughter plays on the floor with plastic letters, red, blue, and hard yellow, learning how to spell. Spelling, how to make spells. I wonder how many women denied themselves daughters, closed themselves in rooms, drew the curtains so they could mainline words. A child is not a poem is not a child, there is no either or. However, I return to the story of the woman caught in the war and in labor, her thighs tied together by the enemy so she could not give birth. Ancestresses, the burning witch, her mouth covered by leather to strangle words. A word after a word after a word is power. At the point where language falls away from the hot bones, at the point where the rock breaks open and the darkness flows out of it like blood, at the melting point of granite when the bones know they are hollow and the word splits and doubles and speaks the truth and the body itself becomes a mouth. This is a metaphor. How do you learn to spell? Blood, sky, and the sun. Your own name first. Your first naming. Your first name. Your first word. Before I leave the stage, I wanted to share with you something I was rereading that's a little horrifying, but so germane to today. Atwood was asked in 2015 to sort of reflect on the world post The Handmaid's Tale, and she was talking about how she came to write it. She actually finished it, by the way, in Alabama, teaching not very far from where I was growing up. So yeah, we got each other for that. But she was talking about some of the ideas that she had for The Handmaid's Tale. And just real quickly, she said, I was a great reader of literature about the Second World War, and I knew that Hitler had announced his platform very early on in Mein Kampf. The book was a non-starter at the time. Germans at first thought Hitler was a nut. Good call. So he downplayed his real agenda until he got himself elected. Then he laid waste to democracy and set about doing what he originally said he wanted to do. So I believed two things. One, if true believers say they'll do a thing, when they get the chance, they'll do it. Two, whoever says it can't happen here is wrong. We're all here today, California, because of a simple truth. If they can curtail our right to speech, they're curtailing our thoughts. If they're curtailing our thoughts, they are curtailing reality itself. And that is why we're here today. Sacramento, thank you.
Keep it going for Dr. Waltonen, everybody. Beautiful, amazing. And please go check out her textbook, Who's Your Source?